All right, we are live, and I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. All members are present, plus Chairman Bartlett, Chris Venn, and our Director of Public Works, John Swirsky. Moving on to the minutes. Does anyone have any questions or notes for the minutes?
I move we approve.
Seconded.
We have a motion and an approval. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We've got no items at the request of the chair. Moving straight on to John and your staff report.
I'm just going to summarize my staff report that Marge sent out with the agenda and the minutes. We have wrapped up all the paving and shouldering on all the construction projects for the year. They finished up on J here on Monday. We did have a little bit of overlay work that we wanted to tackle on C down there by the big rock cut just on the west side of Y. I don't know if we're going to get to that or not. With this COVID thing and people being self-quarantined because of the secondary exposure, and we're taking the precautions there, it's kind of limited our staff. And if you take 8-10 guys that drive truck out of the mix, it's been pretty difficult. And then not only that, then we juggle in with getting the plant from Monarch, because with last week's nice weather, Monarch decided to step up their game and try to finish 25, and they did finish 12:29. So I've had a lot of comments on how smooth 12:29 is. That was very well needed. Brent and I went down to look at some projects on Z, and we drove down 25. Monarch still had the surface to put on some sections of it, but vast improvement from all the potholes that were down on 25. And I haven't gotten a telephone call or message on 12:29 or 25 all summer. So it used to be 5, 6, 7 of them a week about front ends and rims and rock chips and windshields. It's finally nice that the state stepped up and took care of that. So what we're basically going into mix and salt sand. Last week they got set up with a screening plant, and they're mixing salt right now. We should have enough piled on the ground here by the end of the week to where we can start hauling out. So kind of touching base with all the townships so we can get everybody's order filled there. Shouldn't be a problem producing last week and this week. For the most part, the weather was pretty nice. Yesterday kind of bit us in the butt because Mother Nature threw some rain at us, but right now the sun is shining. As soon as things warm up, we should be able to continue operations. We're going to make a big pile, get the pile delivered here to Menominee, get all of our outlying shops filled, take care of all the towns, and then we're probably, if the weather stays halfway decent, try to screen at minimum, just screen out a big pile. So we would have sand on the ground pre-screened, and then we just have to mix a little salt with it. And if we don't need it, which this is a year that I would just as soon not have any weather events, and my salt sand, I would rather cover it up in spring and do battle with that than actually burn it up. If we wouldn't get to that secondary pile, as long as we don't have salt mixed in it, it can sit in the pit until next year, and then we mix our salt with it. And then the DNR, we don't have to worry about any regulations if we haven't added the salt to it. So hopefully in the next week or so, we're done mixing salt sand. Our high capacity brine maker that the state is going to purchase for us, I got an email on Monday that it just came off the assembly line and it is ready for shipment. Randy Miller from Casper Truck Equipment over in Marshfield, Wausau area. He's going to come over on the 21st, meet with Dan, I, and Brent to look everything over, show us exactly where we want our storage tank set, where the machine is going to set anything that we need to do as far as electrical and plumbing prior to him getting here, but get a game plan together here. And it looks like sometime mid-December, we should be able to get the install done, and that thing should be up and running before the end of the year, which will be great to have something that is new and functioning, give us the capacity we need for our brine production. We ended up having the 3 6,000 gallon storage tanks. That should almost double our capacity on brine storage. The tanks are here. They showed up here a couple weeks ago. So as soon as the machine shows up, it's a matter of getting everything scheduled and have those guys show up and get it all plumbed and put together and fire it up. Shop operations, we remain fully staffed here. We got a couple people that are currently out due to self-quarantine. Bob Freustad here, he retired. He had 24 years in with the county. He retired last Thursday, the 5th was his last day. So we wish Bob well. He's excited to start retirement. And I told him, man, if you're in good health and you can go and enjoy it. And that's what he said he's plans on doing. So we wish Bob well there too. We keep truck and equipment repairs our main priority. That first snowfall that went through, we didn't have any major stuff go wrong. It was a couple wiper blades and stuff like that, but usually there's 4 or 5 trucks in here for blowing hydraulic hoses, belts, windshield wipers, all kinds of crazy stuff. The only truck that was in here when that storm event went on was one spare truck, which they were working on 2 or 3 days before the snow event came through. So versus when I first got here, it looked like we were running a full-fledged Peterbilt dealership. There was 5, 6 in all the bays and sometimes 3 in the aisles. Some of it wasn't major, but we have gotten a foothold here on truck repair, and it's awesome because if the trucks are out plowing, they're getting the work done that we need them, and we're getting paid for, and we're not sticking tons and tons of money in here, because if they're in here getting wrenched on, they're costing us money. So it was refreshing to see that. Hats off to all of our mechanics that going through these trucks now when we've been fully staffed and been able to get a season ahead and work on them in July, August, September before the cold weather comes. And a lot of the issues that would become either major or set us back an hour or two in the winter when we do start plowing, a lot of those were fixed already, and trucks are checked all over. Where Preston is getting most of them, he's gone through already, and I would say about half of them have been DOT'd. So that makes them a lot safer if something would happen. We have record that those trucks have been gone through and they were up to date and everything was up to snuff when we sent them out on the road to plow. So we're still waiting. We have all 5 quads. All 3 tries are here. They're just setting the liquid up on the 3 triaxles. We're hanging the plastic tanks on the back, but everything's been running just absolutely perfect with the new trucks. And we're still waiting on that state tandem. And I think there's a little bit of a wait on that stainless steel spreader body. So hopefully here by the end of this month, beginning of next month, that last plow truck shows up, and then we can start utilizing it here. If it has to sit in the barn and we don't plow any snow with it, not a bad deal neither. So that kind of concludes the project update. I'll jump to the financial report. And any questions on that? We're kind of running about right where we were. We're just a hair shy running on our revenues. We should be getting some LRIP money reimbursement in. That'll help our revenue side. Now that we're done blacktopping and shouldering a lot of our mathy milestone, the big payments for the month, those should cease going out because most of the blacktop now has been billed and paid out. So any questions on the budget?
Just a quick curiosity question back from earlier. What's the brine tanks? Are those raised and gravity feed or are they pump?
They are pump. They're basically just big poly storage, vertical storage tanks that sit in the corner, and then there's an electric pump, and then they basically pump it into the smaller tanks on the trucks.
Oh, just pure curiosity.
Yep. So, and because the state allocated us up to $200,000 on this project, we were able to take our current tanks, which are, I believe, 45 or 4,600 gallon tanks. And we had enough after we bought the brine maker to also add the new storage tanks, which in turn now will take these smaller tanks that we have from our current system. And now we can put those each tank out at some of these satellite shops. So I know Boyceville needs one. We were talking about putting one down in Rock Falls. Colfax already has one. So then probably O'Galley or another one up at the North Shop. So we're, as long as the state was going to fund this, and we still came in with adding these tanks under our project dollars, now we can utilize, we'll repurpose our current tanks to the outlying shops, and then we'll have our bases covered there too. So make our operations more efficient out there.
Good to hear. Anyone have any further questions on the staff report? Okay, seeing none, I will consider on to actions taken by committee. Review of the vouchers. Anyone have any questions on the vouchers? Looks like there aren't any this time around. Hooray. Do I have a motion to accept the voucher? Yeah, accept the vouchers.
So
We
moved.
accept. Yeah.
Chuck and Randy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And now on to what I expect will be our biggest time sink today, the ATV Club Trail stuff.
And actually, I'm going to make a recommendation that we postpone this until next month. Mark Bear has been working with Dustin and I, and Mark has been going out, taking some photos, getting sight distance on this. He has just gotten the rest of the information to Dustin yesterday. Dustin threw it into a spreadsheet. So Dustin and I have not had a chance to review each one of these trail segments because of the total number. So my recommendation would be to postpone them. And then here in the next couple of weeks, Dustin and I should be able to funnel through, look at the pictures, look at the sight distance, put on a spreadsheet what our recommendations are. And then I will take that spreadsheet and I will send it out to you guys for review prior to next month's meeting. And then you guys can all see what our recommendations are and have a comment section on there. And then we'll discuss all 13 at next month's meeting, if that's acceptable.
Anyone have any objections to that? Then I guess we're gonna put that on to next month's meeting. And okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss. My camera is right in the middle of all of you, so occasionally I miss a bit here. We've got no considerations for resolutions. Our next meeting should be December 9th. Anybody have anything else?
Dave, I'm assuming that because of the way the COVID is, we're going to continue all the committee meetings virtually. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I would support going back to in-person meetings if the health director changes her directive, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen with the numbers going up instead of down. They're going to have to go down quite a ways to get
Yep.
back to where we were when her directive was 25 people indoors. So, so I assume we're going to be virtual meetings for quite a while. I'm not thrilled with that, but that's the situation we're in. And I would suggest that we all kind of just decide that's what's going to happen and realize we're going to have to live with that, I'm afraid.
Okay, yeah. That is definitely what it's looking. If I don't have anyone else with anything for the meeting, I guess we are adjourned. I think that's a record for highway. We're not going to beat Randy, but
That's a record too.
Anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, with the exception of the COVID thing, otherwise everything has been going good. Like I said, the equipment and the trucks, the morale around here has been really good. We've been getting a lot of things done. Last week with the weather the way it was fantastic. It just made our paving operation go a whole lot easier when it's 65, 70 degrees versus struggling with 40, 42 in the mornings. So that was refreshing too. So everything's going good. Salt is all here. If we can get the salt sand production, that's kind of our the only thing that's a little bit weather dependent, but with the sun shining and digging out of the bank, I don't anticipate any problems there. And we'll get all of our sand shook out and mixed up and hauled out.
So has the township started getting any yet, or that's not ready yet?
We're probably about 2 days away from hauling out. So I
Okay.
know as soon as they get a big enough pile on the ground, I know the trucks will be rolling, and we're going to get all the towns filled and then all of our outlying shops filled. So, and we already have a pile here in Menominee that was left over from last year that we moved out of the salt shed here when we were taking salt in. So we got a fairly decent pile started. So I'd like to go to a year of minimums instead of the last couple of years. It seems like it's been a year of maximums. So, yeah, I would rather sit and stare at that salt pile all summer next year if I had my wish.
And if I may, I've got just a question about Rock Creek. Quite a while ago, like a year ago or so, you were in discussions with Pepin County to trade some area there. Did we ever do that, or how did that work out?
That was derailed a little bit with the COVID. It's still on Jeff Kern's radar, and now Buffalo County Commissioner Bob Latier ended up there's a new commissioner in Pepin, so it'll be a new face, an old face for me, but a new face for Pepin at the table. But yes, Eau Claire, Dunn, and Pepin are still going to get together with the DOT, and that is still on our radar. With the way construction materials are just out of control on pricing, I think we're just going to kind of keep putting the Rock Falls shop on the back burner. And if we can, I would just soon eliminate it. It's one less facility. It would save us a lot of money. And if we can run the state truck and the county truck just out of Menominee and have the salt shed down there, they can have salt and they can have fuel. We wouldn't need a shop, and then it'd just be one less initial expense and then a maintenance expense to maintain too. So yes, we still are in negotiations, but with COVID, that kind of got derailed. None of the state individuals are working from the office. Jeff Kern says typically about 1 day every 2 weeks, they allow them to go in, grab whatever they need to off their desk, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, the state building in Eau Claire has been shuttered.
Okay. Just wondering where it was at.
Yep, it's still on our radar.
All righty. We are adjourned.